First new launch of 2026, Narra Residences. Should you buy it or should you avoid it? Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Sherwin, and today in this video I'll be deep diving into this project itself using my 3E framework. For those who are not familiar with my 3E framework, this is just a quick summary of it. The first E being entry price and exit strategy, how to determine what is right and what is wrong, followed by efficiency of the project itself, and lastly, emotion of the project. Okay, of course I have done a detailed breakdown into the individual E's of the framework with real life case study, and I will put the link in the description below if you would like to refer to them. If not, if you are lazy to watch, you can always reach out to me and I will run through the 3E framework based on your objective to see whether this project or other project better suits your needs and objective. It will be launching from 17th of Jan 2026 all the way to 26th of Jan 2026. Of course, if you do have your own agent, you can approach them for viewing. If not, if you want to make an appointment to visit the show flat, do reach out to me as well. Some facts, quick fire facts about the project. Tenure is 99-year leasehold from 1st of July 2025. A total of 7 blocks spanning over a land size of 21,000-ish square meters. Okay, there will be a total of 540 units. And one thing that's very uncommon here nowadays in new launches, they have almost a 1-to-1 parking lot, which is 546. Expected vacant possession, it's in January 2030, okay, which is 5 years from now. This is the location map of Narra Residences. Okay, for those of you that are familiar, once you exit the expressway, you just make a right turn and you will see Dairy Farm Walk, and they will be the first plot of land located in the area itself. What is already existing is you have Tree House, Skywoods, Dairy Farm Residences, and the one that is going to TOP soon, Botany as well. Okay, so this would be the latest plot. And one thing interesting to note, the entrance of Narra Residences is actually further in, giving developers more creativity, right, to create a grand entrance in this area itself. Okay, so if you have a chance to visit the show flat, please do so, because the entrance is really very well designed. Okay, this is the unit mix. As you can see, developers this time round, they are not focusing on the 1-bedroom or 1+ study at all. In fact, there's only 3 units of 1+ study available, and they are all, the prices are all starting from below $1 million, which is quite rare lah. Okay, their focus mainly are on the 2-bedroom and the 3-bedroom, and just the 2-bedroom and 3-bedroom itself, right, they have more than 10 layouts. Some slight difference here and there, and it really depends on your objective, the needs of your family, and of course whether the pricing makes sense or not to buy. The other thing to note when it comes to the condo itself is the maintenance fee for this condo is relatively low, so I think it's quite worth it lah. Okay, so let's move on to the first E of my framework, the entry price. Indicative price from the developer is already out, and it is looking very attractive. I would say this price is actually priced for the old price tag, which is around the 2023 to 2024. Okay, so what makes me say the price is attractive and it is reasonable? Let's look at all the resale within the vicinity and see how much they are transacting. So for eco-centric, we start with the 2-bedroom, not going to the 1-bedroom, because 1-bedroom there's only 3 units. 2-bedroom eco-centric, which is around a 10 years condo, highest transacted is 1.152 million already. Similarly for Tree House, the highest transacted for 2-bedroom is 1.3 million. And for Midwood, which is the slightly newer one in the area, I think TOP around 1.5 years ago, highest transacted is at 1.52 million. Of course, the average is around 1.3 million starting from lah. And Botany, which is a new launch, just fully sold in 2025, is around 1.35 million as well. Mind you, the highest price that it one of the unit went for is around 1.64 million. And if you're observant enough, right, you realize, right, that the 3-bedroom for Narra Residences, right, actually start from 1.6 million. Okay, so whatever your neighbor is selling for a 2-bedroom, right, you can actually get a 3-bedroom in a newer project with a fresher lease tenure. Okay, so this is for the 2-bedroom. Let's follow on with the 3-bedroom. Okay, Narra Residences, 3-bedroom starting from 1.6 million. Eco Century already transacted in 2025. Okay, over here is at 1.7 million to 1.76 million. Okay, and for Tree House, the 3-bedroom has already transacted above 1.7 million as well. These two, the age of the condo is around 10 to 15 years. And for Midwood, it's even higher because it's a newer project, transacted around 1.8 million to 1.9 million. And lastly, the new project itself, which is Botany, the 3-bedroom is already going at 1.9 to 2 million dollars. So today, if you can enter in a 3-bedroom at 1.6 million, compared to the resale unit, which is already transacting at 1.8 to 2 million dollars, which one do you think is more worth it from an entry price point of view? So the entry price for Narra Residences, I would say, is the strongest, not one of the strongest, it's the strongest selling point for the project. Okay, and 4-bedroom, not many transacted because this area is more of an own stay area, so people staying there, they do not sell that frequently lah. Okay, so the last transacted in 2024 for Eco Century is 2.2 million, and for Tree House in 2025, there's 2 units transacted, also at the 2.2 to 2.22 million range. Okay, Narra Residences, for some context, is at 2.4 million starting from. Okay, and something newer for Midwood, just TOP 1.5 years ago, 4-bedroom, it's already transacting at 2.4 million. Okay, and Botany, the 4-bedroom, they are all above 2.5 million dollars. So it really makes Narra Residences very, very attractive from an entry price point of view. Okay, and I think I forgot to mention that Narra Residences, right, is also the first post-harmonized project in the area as well. So being post-harmonized, right, if you look at all the talks, reviews from agents or even from myself, the developer really focus on efficiency of layout and less wasted space. So what you are paying for is what you are getting. After we finish talking about the entry price, which I think is fantastic, let's move on to the exit strategy. Because there must be a reason why the developers are pricing it so cheap now. Because the exit strategy is not great at the moment. Okay, why do I say so? Let's look at the volume of transaction, right, for different districts in the OCR area. District 23 is the area where Narra Residences is at, which is the Hillview and Dairy Farm area. And if you were to notice, right, this is from a 10-year stretch. Okay, 10 years. And orange is the color coded for Hillview, which is the area we are at. The transaction volume, resale volume, right, has always been one of the lowest. Okay, next is Tampines and Simei, and lastly, the one with the most transaction is Punggol and Sengkang. As we all know, because Punggol and Sengkang has been one of the most fastest developing district for the past 10 years, and they have the most BTO and HDB upgraders, which drive their private market as well. So if you are talking about the short-term demand for this project itself, I would say it would not be that easy because it will take you a longer time, right, to sell a unit here as compared to other OCR area. Hence, the developers know it and they are pricing it slightly cheaper as well. Okay, and if you look at it, right, this is where Narra Residences is located. On top of that, right, there's this one plot of land for sale, okay, not for sale, but coming up zone residential, which the government will sell. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. A total of 6 plots of land in this area, which will be developed into a private enclave. So the question is, right, your exit strategy, right, what in the short term, right, is you have low demand in the area and you have a high supply coming up. So if you're someone looking to flip, to buy and flip in the short term, I say it will not be that advisable, okay? Because you will end up hurting your own pocket. I don't think you will lose money because the price is very, very reasonable. It's just that you will not see the profit you want in the near term, okay? So this is the exit strategy for short term. I would say the next 3 to 5 years. But what about if you are buying for your own stay and holding on for a longer term period? This is where the transformation come in, okay? So if you look back, right, into these 3 districts, right, why did District 19 perform so well? Because our government is actively developing this area, and when they are actively developing the area with more businesses coming in, they are also in turn building more BTO, which lead to more upgraders as well, okay? Because we know most of the Singaporeans, if they buy BTO, that would be their first pot of gold. That shows us, right, where the demand will be coming from. So for District 23, right, if you look at all the newspaper article, right, there are so many residential developments planned around the west area. So I'll say for the next 10 to 15 years, west would be one of the fastest growing areas, just like the old Punggol. You have Tengah, which is one of the biggest HDB town you will find in the next 10 years. Choa Chu Kang, Bukit Batok, and on top of that, you have Jurong as well, okay? Over here, you have the Jurong Lake District, Jurong Innovation District, and the Tuas spot, okay? So just in Tengah itself, right, we are planning to have more than 30,000 HDB units, okay? Which leads me to my next point. You are not looking for a short-term exit strategy. You are looking for something longer term, okay? Where you will have future demand and sufficient supply, not high supply, because do take note, just Tengah itself is 30,000 HDB units. If just 10% of them upgrade, you have 3,000 HDB upgraders. Of course, they might be looking into other areas in the west as well, but it will definitely fuel up the supply in that area. So when our government plan, right, they don't plan it based on your needs, your objective, but they plan it based on whether the supply today that I'm building will meet the demand in the future, okay? So if you are buying and your exit strategy is I'll buy this area and I'll hold for the long term, then yes, it might work for you, okay? This area have its cons as well, which I will touch on in the efficiency part, okay? So when it comes to efficiency part for Narra Residences, I'll talk about 4 talking points. The first is location, second is school, third is the facilities and site plan, and lastly would be the layout, okay? Location itself, not the best if you are not driving. If you are driving, it's perfect, okay? So of course you have a bus stop in front of you, but if you want to walk to the MRT station, right, 99% of the Singaporeans wouldn't do that because Singapore is damn bloody hot. But if you're driving, it is really very, very convenient. And amenities wise, you do have a mixed development, dairy farm residences, which is directly opposite you, but the shops there are also somewhat limited. So if you want to get your daily groceries and stuff, it's either you go to the Bukit Panjang area where you have the different mall, or you have to head downwards to Beauty World, okay? Then one of the criteria for most Singaporeans now judging is whether it's walking distance to an MRT station. So location wise, I do not think it is a plus point, okay, based on the location efficiency. Next one would be school. Like our government say, there are no bad schools in Singapore, but there are better schools. But sad to say, Narra Residences is not within the 1 km of the better school vicinity, okay? You do have Bukit Panjang Primary School, but other than that, the rest are secondary schools, and you have international schools. And I don't feel that this would be a draw factor for most people buying into this area, okay? To top it off, it is not very convenient as well. So location and school is really not a plus point for Narra Residences, okay? But what about the site plan, okay? I feel the site plan is very, very well designed, okay? Let me explain to you. If you look, right, there's actually 3 layers to it. I can call this is layer 1, this is layer 2, and this is layer 3. Why do I call them into 3 layers, right? It's because if you look at this is how they build it. Layer 3 is the highest, followed by layer 2 and layer 1. And the distance between the block, right, for layer 1 and layer 2 is around 62 meters, and over here is close to 30 meters as well. So you have a lot of privacy in between units, and on top of that, right, outwards of the unit as well, because your closest neighbor would be around 47 meters or 60 meters. So even if you are in an area with a lot of condo supply, you do not feel cluttered. Okay, on top of that, you have full condo facilities, tennis court by the side, swimming pool, and a very nice clubhouse area. So nothing is being compromised for you. And this is the entrance which I am talking about. A very grand entrance, and they have this roundabout to make sure peak period no jam. Okay, school bus, they pick up, drop off, no issue. Okay, so efficiency itself, site plan, very nicely designed, and most importantly, the blocks or the towers itself, they do not have that many units. There was some period of time, right, where one block, right, might have 10 to 12 units, which people feel that firstly it makes the corridor very long, and secondly it makes it very dark as well. But here it is actually very well spread out, 6 units, 8 units, 8 units, 4 units. Of course, this is your premium stack, followed by 8 units, 8 units, and 8 units over here. Okay, so very thoughtful design by the developer. So efficiency itself, I would say it's a plus. And the last plus for this project, right, would be the floor plan. Okay, because I wouldn't say there's negative, but because there are disadvantages to the project, the developer would definitely have to make something attractive for buyers to want to buy into the project itself. Okay, first of course would be the pricing. Secondly, something else they can control would be the floor plan. Okay, because these are within their control. Not going to talk too much about the 1 plus study, because then again there's only 3 units, and one thing you note, they are all ground floor units. Okay, but they do have a very proper study lah, with this island kitchen coming in, and the rest is pretty much standard. Okay, so nothing much to compare, but we'll move on to the 2-bed 1 bath. Similarly, 560 square feet, but do take note, this is post-harmonized. So if it is a pre-harmonized project, it will be around 624 square feet, which is pretty standard. A dumbbell layout with a Jack and Jill toilet for your guests to enter, and for you to have privacy for your master bathroom. Only downside for dumbbell layout, I feel, right, is the lack of privacy if people do visit your unit and you have master and a common room, because then the common room, if you have kids over there, usually they'll be disturbed lah. Lack of privacy, I would say so. Okay, and this is the 2-bed 2 bath. Okay, this is where things get interesting. I'll just be comparing a few different layout in the area with Narra Residences. If you look at this is a 646 square feet and a 689 square feet for the 2-bed 2 bath. Okay, and for Botany is 678 square feet. One thing to note, even though they are similar in size, I do have to repeat myself. 678, right, is inclusive of the AC ledge. Okay, so if you minus this off, right, the 2-bedroom 2 bathroom, right, for Botany, right, will be maybe around only 624 square feet. So it will be much smaller. Okay, and first look, you can tell already the living space, right, for Narra Residences is really huge. And the bedroom itself, right, they do not compromise it. Master bedroom, you have 11 square meters, and for the common bedroom itself, you have 9 square meters, and you have a very good tuck away kitchen at the side. And for the bigger one at 689 square feet, they can even afford to give you a bomb shelter, which is a storage. And in today's context, this is a premium and a lifesaver for a lot of small family, because the lack of storage is one of the main reason people choose to get a 3-bedroom instead. So now if you have like a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom with a storage, people would really go for that, especially when they only have 1 kids, okay, or a couple that have lots of stuff. Okay, so layout efficiency, Narra Residences top all the resale project. Okay, moving on, this is the slightly bigger 700 square feet 2-bed 2-bath with storage as well. As you can see, I'll zoom in over here. Bomb shelter, okay, bomb shelter. This would be the more traditional layout already. So for those who want more privacy, coming in, you have a bomb shelter by the side, enclosed kitchen with windows over here. Very important to note, windows are. Similarly for this as well, you have windows, and you come in, you have a corridor which gives you privacy. So if you have guests visiting, or you are those that host more, maybe the dumbbell layout don't suit you, but the 700 square feet layout for the Narra Residences might suit you better. Compare this to tree house. First thing I'll point out to you is the bedroom is freaking small. You can only put a single bed over here. So even this is 720 square feet, actual fact might only be around 680 square feet, okay? And layout don't really make sense at all because this is not usable. It's usable, just that it's very tiny, okay? And for Dairy Farm Residences, the 710 square feet, you do not have a proper box up kitchen. Instead, yours is a alleyway kitchen where it is by the side, which is quite a turn off if you were to compare this at 700 square feet and this at 710 square feet. Okay, similarly, for Dairy Farm itself, you have a slightly bigger balcony and the aircon latch, which is a waste of space, which you are paying. Okay, and for Narra Residences, you are not paying for it. Okay, moving on, this is the show flat layout for the 2+ study in Narra Residences. So if you want to see the actual layout, do head down to have a look and you would be very impressed. First, they have a tuck-in kitchen over here, followed by a study area. And this small space over here, right, let me just highlight this small space over here. It is actually very impressive because it gives you a bigger walkway, and if you want to, right, you can actually, right, have a bigger dining table over here and it does not compromise the space, okay? As compared to tree house and Dairy Farm Residences, first thing you will note for Dairy Farm Residences, right, is the kitchen is at the alley area, okay? And coming in, right, straight in, right, you do not have the additional gap over here, which make your living space look more narrow, okay? And for tree house, even though it's at 860 square feet, you have a longer and narrower balcony and you have a smaller bedroom as well. So in terms of efficiency, you can see the difference. And why treehouse is selling more expensive? Because the size is bigger, even though the PSF is smaller. Okay, even if let's say if they are at 1007 PSF and this is at 2000 PSF, overall, Narra Residences at 2000 PSF will still be cheaper than treehouse, just because the space is more efficiently designed. Okay, so moving on, let's look at the compact 3-bedroom quickly, and the comparison which I will draw from would be treehouse 1150 square feet and the Botany compact 3-bedroom at 883 square feet. Okay, so if you were to look at Narra Residence itself, same thing, nothing I will nitpick on because they do have a flexi room here as well. Okay, this flexi room is very, very important because it can act as a study, or it can be a storeroom or a yard area for you as well. Okay, so you see, you can enter over here. There's a small gap, doesn't directly look all the way out to your balcony, provide some privacy and better feng shui. Come into your kitchen, and this area, right, have a window as well. Okay, you'll be amazed, right, that this is only 872 square feet, yet they are able to have 2 bedroom at 9 square meter and a huge master bedroom at 30 square meters. Okay, as compared to your neighbor at treehouse. First thing I'll highlight to you is this balcony is really very, very narrow. Although it is very long, but it's very narrow, you can't even fit a proper dining area here. So it's a waste of space. Secondly, look at the two common room. You can only fit a single bed. Okay, of course I do have to admit that the living area itself is huge, but you have a very long corridor which is wasted space, and on top of that, aircon latch as well. Okay, and for botany, which is slightly more relevant, is 883 square feet, but do take note, aircon latch is included as well. And just look at the aircon latch space over here. I would say this would amount to minimally 80 square feet already. So your 3 bedroom is only 800 square feet. And look at the balcony space over here. Okay, on top of that, you have this long corridor leading into your living and your dining area. Okay, so first thing you will notice, this has more space than this. Okay, so layout wise, 3 bedroom, compact 3 bedroom, Narra Residences hands down bo wei gong. Okay, and the show flat layout for the 3 bedroom premium, which is at 1001 square feet, the slight difference here is you have a bomb shelter and you have a proper entrance which leads into the living and dining area. This is like a 玄关. So for those that prefer more privacy and more storage for the area as well, this is something that you can consider. No compromise on the bedroom space, 9 square meter, 9 square meter, just that your master bedroom is slightly bigger by 1 square meter. Okay, of course there are many other 3 bedroom layout available. If you can see, you have C4P, C5P, C6P, C7P, C8P, C9 and C10. Okay, for most of the 3 bedroom, the difference is very minimal. That's why I'll not be going into details. It really depends on your ballot number that day and the needs of your family, and whether the small difference would make a significant impact to your living in the future if you choose to buy. Okay, then you can consult me separately. Let's look at the comparison of the 4 bedroom for Narra Residences as compared to its competitor. Okay, Tree House 4 bedroom is around 1400 square feet. If you look at this, this is a very long dumbbell layout. I wouldn't say it is the most efficient because you have a lot of wasted corridor space. You have a very long but narrow balcony. On top of that, 2 of your common rooms, same issue, can only fit a single bed. Okay, as compared to Narra Residences, if you look over here, very sizable bedroom, all 4 bedroom, very sizable. Okay, one thing to note for this, which is a negative as compared to Treehouse, is you only have 2 proper toilets for Narra Residences, compact 4-bedder. But of course, back to my earlier point, 1005 square feet at 1007 PSF compared to 1001 square feet at 2000 PSF. Overall, the quantum for Narra Residences would be lower and the efficiency and usage of space would be higher. So it's a trade-off of whether that particular bathroom is a game changer for your family. Okay, of course, if you do need a 4th bathroom, right, you can choose to get the bigger 4-bedroom, which is at 1378 square feet, and they have a junior master with attached junior master bath as well. Okay, no compromise of space, still 9 square meter, 9 square meter, wide frontage over here, and as you can see, this is more comfortable, right, than this, which is so narrow. Okay, of course, Treehouse is an older project, so efficiency wise might not be there. Let's compare to the nearer neighbor, which is Botany, 1324 square feet before harmonization. Okay, so AC latch over here is wasted. You have 1 balcony and 2 balconies, and same thing, you only have 1 bathroom, 2 bathroom over here for something at 1324 square feet. So if I were to compare these two, right, I would say the space that is taken up in the AC latch, right, what they do, right, is they use to create 1 more toilet. Okay, so when it comes in the resale market and the pricing is very similar, how would the buyer choose? Firstly, they will choose whether people are selling, and secondly, of course, because the location and the school factors is not as good, right? They'll look at the layout lor, okay? So layout wise, Narra Residences hands down beat all the competitors in the surrounding. Okay, and lastly, let's look at the 5-bedroom. 5-bedroom itself for the areas which I'll flash through later, there's really not many supply and I don't think many of them are selling as well. So if you really buy this, you can afford it because 3.8 million. But maybe 3.8 million you can get landed elsewhere but at even more ulu location. So you make the trade-off yourself. But of course, 5-bedroom, you have nothing you can hiam because it's a 5-bedroom. You're already paying 3.8 million for a 5-bedroom already. If it's not good, then something must be wrong. Okay, first is you have a private lift, close to 1,700 square feet, which is very, very rare nowadays. Bomb shelter, and you have another entrance at the back. Okay, room size very sizable, 9 square meters, and you have a junior master on top of it as well, and you have an additional balcony. That's all I have to say lah. So they have the 165 square feet and the 1679 square feet. Okay, of course, if you're someone with a 4 million budget, do look for me and I will gladly show you the 5-bedroom and what are the alternatives you can get in the area. Really not many lah. Okay, so the last point which I will touch about will be the emotional value. Can you put emotional, or how do you justify the price you are paying to the emotions of staying in the area? Most people, when they think of Dairy Farm Hillview, the first thing that come into their mind, right, is firstly exclusive, secondly privacy, and lastly maybe a sort of atas effect because you do not have many HDB around the area. Okay, that is the emotional value. Really a very, very private area. So most people that buy there, they are not looking to flip, they are looking to stay long term. But in terms of view wise, you do not get that much of a view. So if you are buying, I would say if you look inwards to into the swimming pool, right, because of the distance, if you remember, it's around 60 meters, right, you will have a better view than looking outwards. Because if you were to see, these are your existing development, and these are your future development. You have a housing site over here, housing site over here, housing site over here. So looking outwards, you will not get that much of a view unless you go for a higher floor. Okay, so this is something I would say emotional value not very, very justifiable unless you are really someone that prefer peace and quiet. Okay, my conclusion for this, right, is if you are buying, look for the bigger units, 3 or 4 bedroom, because if you look at tree house, what they are already transacting or asking is really above the indicative starting price of Narra Residences. Okay, my strategy would be to buy the 3 or 4 bedroom for my own stay because the pricing makes sense and it's very attractive and layout is efficient. Then I'll hold it, right, for the long term to capture the capital gains when all the transformation happens. I will definitely not buy it just to flip in the short run, because I feel that it wouldn't make sense and it will be very hard for you to sell in the near future. So there are better products out there if you are looking to flip in the next 3 to 5 years, but Narra Residences will definitely not be one of them. Okay, so with that, I end off my video. Thank you for watching till the end, and if you have yet to subscribe to my channel, please do so and do tell me how I can improve on my content, or if you have any questions, do PM me directly and I hope that I can answer them all. If not, my name is Sherwin. Once again, thank you for watching.